Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show. I am always thrilled to be joined by Jessie Shepherd from Blue Clover Therapy, and today she brought a friend from the Park City School District, intervention specialist, a counselor, Sam Walsh. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
So something that we talk a lot about with the youth in Park City, and this is a global issue, is bullying. And we've recently learned this can start as young as preschool, kindergarten age, and of course translate right up to high school, which you tend to see more of in the media. But as a therapist, and you deal with a lot of people here in Park City, specifically families, and you have children of your own.
Yes.
What are some of the things that have surprised you over the past few years with this sort of epidemic of bullying that we see?
Well, I think that bullying has kind of been the same for years and years. However, now I'm a parent and I get to see my little ones go off in the world, and trusting that they're going to go in the school district and be taken care of, and you can't protect them. And so it's super difficult as a parent to let go of your kid, I guess.
Yes.
You're like, good luck, babe, you know?
Yes.
And it's unfortunate with the cyberbullying now, because not only, you know, is this happening at school in person, it's also happening online.
And this is something new to, I mean, Facebook and all of these things didn't exist, you know, when we were in school. And I think I always panic about those playground moments and those little interactions that can take a different kind of a turn. But now I can't even imagine the pressure on a young person when they can be quietly attacked via the internet.
Absolutely, and people behind a screen can be really rough. There's not that
filter. There's a lot more confidence when you don't have to look somebody in the eye.
Exactly. And so, you know, and they can attack you in different ways. Like you said, Facebook, email, all of these different things. And kids need to use their computers and internet at this point for school. And so how do you balance that? How do you protect your kiddos against that? And
also publicly. I mean, when it's not just a one-on-one interaction where someone's bullied. You choose to go via social media, and you could be announcing something to not only a peer group, but an entire grade.
Oh, absolutely. Pictures never go away. Once they're, you know, on the internet, they're on the internet.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
And so if those things are shared and they're uncomfortable for the person, people can make fun of it. It's really
well, and I always
think
coming back to haunt you as an adult, you know, or as a grown person, that you can Google anybody and find anything about them. And so sometimes the decision-making process, especially in adolescence, they don't necessarily think that far into the future.
Right.
So what are some of the common tips and tricks that you talk to parents about in terms of just having that initial conversation with your kids?
So first, make sure your home is a safe place. Make sure that they can come to you and have that clear, open communication where if they are being bullied, they can have that conversation with you. And when they do have that conversation with you, ask for specifics. Is it in person? Is it online? Is it on the way to school, you know, on the way from school in a certain class? That way you can come up with strategies for them to avoid it altogether, ways to cope if it does happen, and then, you know, getting other people involved, like our school system, other therapists, other, you know, kids, family members, all of that, so that you can really get that support system around them.
So they don't feel so isolated.
Exactly.
I know that's usually the motivation of a bully, is to make them feel really alone and excluded.
Yeah, and you'll find that kids will want to hide that they're being bullied, especially from, you know, parents or that kind of thing, because they're like, well, I don't want mom to worry about me, or, you know, and it's, oh, we already are going to worry about you.
I was going to say, we're going to worry about you all the time, no matter what, so you might as well give us something tangible to worry about.
That's right, something to work with, because
exactly.
then we can, you know, come up with strategies to really help you out.
It's a lot to deal with on their own. And Sam, working in the public school district as an intervention counselor, what are some of the things that you see come through your door?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, I think, and probably this is across the board for any school, I think we get very few reports of bullying, probably 5 or 10%. And I think the primary reason is all kids are concerned about the same thing. They're concerned that if they report that behavior is going on, that there's going to be retaliation, it's going to get worse. So I think a really important message for parents to give kids is that the school is going to go about putting the power back in the hands of the victim and creating a plan to make the victim feel safe. The school district wants all kids to feel safe. On the other side, I think it's really important to educate kids that, hey, if you are participating in this behavior, whether it's commenting on a social media post or participating in bullying behavior, there could be consequences. It's actually against our safe school policy. So every student has the right to come to school every day and feel safe. And if another student, because of bullying or harassment's interfering, they could receive consequences. But we're going to be very sensitive and deal with that situation in a way that that student's comfortable with.
Well, and I think that retaliation factor, I mean, I know I've heard that from a lot of different students. And I think also, especially with high school age children, or young adults, I should say, it can feel like that is it. You know, that 2 months or 3 months or whatever sort of phase they're in, that's going to be their life, you know, and it's hard to get them to sort of see out from the other side of it. But you're coming up with some practical tools and tangible things that they can actually use.
Absolutely. So in this past fall, we rolled out the Safe UT app, and it's an app that was developed specifically for Utah schools, and the app has 2 features. One of the features is once they download the app, they just create a login. There's no way to track who the person is. They can chat 24 hours a day with a uni crisis worker. But the second feature of the app is school specific. You go into a drop-down menu, select your school, and you can send an anonymous tip to your building administration. You can even attach a picture, a screenshot of a social media post that's harassing, and that way it's really not on the victim. They're handing over that information to the administration, and they can investigate.
And is this something that's being used in?
Absolutely,
you've seen it in the Park City District?
And it's a process of talking one-on-one with students. We constantly are reminding students, but we have seen an increase in the use specifically for issues of bullying and cyberbullying.
And for parents that are watching and think this is a fantastic resource, because I can't imagine one having 24 access to a counselor, you know, quietly without having to necessarily involve people if they're not feeling ready, but also the anonymous tip line is fantastic. Is this available App Store, Android Store?
Yes, it's a free app. It's called Safe UT. It's really easy to download, and again, you just create a user ID that can be any numeric number, and there is no way to track where it came from. So I think it helps quell the concerns of students that, you know, this is truly anonymous.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Jessie, Sam, thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here.
Thank
It
you for
makes me
having
feel a
us.
little bit more comfortable having the young person coming into the school district to know there are people like you that are a resource. And I encourage everybody that has a young person in the Park City School District to get online and get them the Safe UT app. This is an app you actually want your child to have on their smartphone. We're going to take a break here on the Mountain Morning Show, and then we are going to celebrate National Cheese Fondue Day tomorrow with the Melting Pot. Joe Davis is quite excited. We're going to take a break. You're watching Park City Television.